Beyond. I am your host, Alan Tracy.
And I'm Verona Power. Uh, Today we have just a host of guests, which is a funny way to put that. We're very excited to have so many amazing guests with us here today. We are going to be talking about Dana in the Nightmare. And a little bit the trilogy overall, as this is the third Dana film to be filmed. So we'll kind of splash in a little bit of how that plays in. But first, before we do, we want to talk about or get to know who everyone is. So I'm gonna start with Jeff since he's next to me here. Um, can you introduce yourself and what your role in this film was, or for this film was?
Yeah, so I'm Jeff Goldsmith. I'm a film composer, electronic musician, engineer, based out of the Twin Cities. And my role for Dana in the Nightmare was I was the film composer slash performer because I'll be performing one part of the film at Film Score Fest.
And also any plugs also along with when you're doing introductions. Go ahead.
Plugs like projects I'm working
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
What's the
So
roadmap look
right
like?
now I'm figuring out how to perform my score for Dana. But for the year, yeah, I have a couple of features that I'm sort of in the running for. One of them is it's a horror slash mockumentary about a coven of witches that are lurking around Kansas City. So it's called Heathens. It's a director I've worked with out of Kansas City, Nathaniel Paul.
Huh.
Great director. So yeah, that's kind of on my immediate trajectory. And I have a couple of short films also in the pool, you know? So
Cool.
yeah.
Nice.
That's
All right. Gael and guest.
Hi, I am Gaia Palin, and I play Dana in the Dana the Nightmare film. Um, Presently, I have a couple of features that I was recently cast in coming up, so I'm really excited about those. Uh,
Wow.
Smaller role in
awesome.
one, my biggest role in a feature yet in the other one, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm very excited.
Ooh. Sounds
That's very
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Al.
Yes, you are here.
I am I am a local writer director, special effects makeup artist. I helped out with the makeup on Dana in the Nightmare. I was also production assistant on Dana Plus Char. Um, at the moment, I've got one project for special effects makeup, but other than that, I've got I don't know, kind of just seeing where things go at this point.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, Miss Kaylin.
Hello, I'm Kaylin. I played Shayla in Dana in the Nightmare, and I was also in background of Dana plus Char. As far as what I'm doing in 2025, I'm just open to all sorts of opportunities out there for me. Currently waiting to hear back on a lead role or supporting in a feature film. So send all your good vibes my way. And did I cover everything? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, plug your stuff up to anything else for
Yep.
the year. Pretty much you kind of
That was
touched on.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Tick. How about you?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Tick. I use they, them pronouns. I played Kit in Dana and Nightmare. Yeah, very fun shoot. As of now, I just closed a Midsummer Night's Dream at the Guthrie literally 2 days ago, and then I'm off to I'm house managing a show called premiere called Close to Home at Pillsbury House and Theater, and then I am doing a couple workshops at the History Theater at Playwright Center. I'm doing a short with Brooke Yeager, which I'm excited about. And then I'm doing another short in June called Sunny by Shelley Nagel. Um, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be fun. So a few more little projects coming up.
Nice.
Love it. Very busy.
Yeah. Kaylin and I saw A Midsummer Night's Dream. That was so good. It was
Yeah.
so good.
All right, Andrew.
Totally not having microphone issues right now, but
Aren't we all?
hey, no, I'm good. You can hear me all right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, Andrew Stecker played the one guy that hopefully nobody likes in this one here, which was still a pleasure being, of course, getting to work on any project, and this one was just as special as anything I've done in the past as well, too, specifically because of all the people you're either seeing or hearing if you're listening to the podcast right now, too. But yeah, I mean, if anyone who's familiar with me, I work behind camera as much as in front of camera. Hopefully less than if I can get my way. But there's a couple things that I've worked on behind camera as a first assistant director. One that just wrapped up in Ely, Minnesota, called Goody Goody, that should be coming out hopefully sometime next year. And then one that's premiering in Minnesota this next month called Good Sport. Apparently, I only do films that have the word good in it. So that one's going to be coming out. I worked behind camera on that one as well, too. In front of camera, just trying to do it as much as possible. I do have a few films with the crew that I do a lot of the war films with that I've been working on for the last several years. We have two that we're looking to finish up on this year as well that will hopefully be, one could be out this year and the other probably most likely next year, too.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Wow. I like all the projects everyone's working
Yeah.
on. Or Rahana.
Yeah, I actually had a role on the film too, which is exciting. I played Dr. Lumen, which was awesome. I got to spend a lot of time with Gael. And hey, everyone, we've got 20 plus episodes up for you now on our Patreon with lots of fun chats, some really great guests.
Yeah, and join for free and get extra episodes for as little as $5 a month. You can join in the link in the show notes. Check us out at patreon.com/filmandbeyond.
We'll see.
There.
Son of a.
Go ahead.
Anyway, and I'm doing this in 2025. The podcast. So that's me. There we go.
Yeah.
Alan, how are you tied to this project?
I don't know. I just showed up to set every day. They let me in. So this is one of three films, as we alluded to earlier. 1, 2, 3. Where to even begin? I guess it started with Dana versus Judy, and then we filmed Dana plus Char over the summer, and then Dana and the Nightmare here at the end of the year.
Which is actually the second in the trilogy.
Is number, yes.
Right? Yeah.
Very good.
Can you speak to that a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
why? How? Why?
Why?
That's a good question. I don't think I even know that. Why? Why
Why?
they got
Yeah.
why they got sort of
Well,
mixed around.
It was always going to be for sure like the two,
Mhm.
Dana versus Judy, Dana plus Char, lover fighter modes, and then Dana and the Nightmare was only born out of like because I wanted to make a horror film at the time. Like over the last year, I was watching the series Evil, and a lot of horror films, good horror films, came out last year, like Long Legs and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that really, I mean, there were so many horror films.
Last year was
Immaculate.
a good
Yeah.
year for horror films. I agree.
Yeah.
Last year, that's all that came out. I don't know how a horror film didn't win for Best Picture
Yeah,
at
The
every award
Substance
show.
was probably the closest to
was-
that. Yeah.
It was just all horror films.
Yeah. So I was just itching to do a horror film, and Z-Fest seemed like the right time to do it. And I was like, well, maybe Dana could fit into this, but how? After we filmed Dana plus Char, the story kind of started to come together a bit more. because there were a lot of unanswered questions in Dana plus Shar, and from Dana versus Judy a little bit, and then this one just bridges the whole gap. So, um, yeah, it's pretty cool because I didn't think it was maybe going to work for Dana's story because and you guys can maybe, Jeff, you can probably speak to this later too, or now, just like, do you think this is a horror or a thriller film? Because it feels like it could be either or maybe both. Um,
I mean, I think it sort of veers on both. I think because we sort of had to define it as something going into it, I feel like sometimes that's never the best idea, right?
right,
Like sometimes it's better for the movie and the art to sort of define the genre, right? But
exactly.
due to the nature of what this was, it sort of had to be defined. So obviously it leaned towards that, but I definitely think there's a little bit more thriller. It's a little bit more thriller-esque, I would say, you know?
hmm Yeah. I had to register before, like I wanted to do the pre-registration, early registration, whatever. And then I started writing around in November, basically the outline and everything. And that started to come together after the election. So yeah, just generally coming up with an idea that's like, oh, what if your dream just turned into a nightmare? It's like these certain elements of the film, like that as it gets into it. So, um, all right, so yeah, so it fits in there that it wasn't really going to originally happen, but then I worked on Edit Fest with a few folks here, Rahana,
Mhm.
Tick, Kaylin, yep. So that was kind of my stab, like, can I do anything like this? Is this doable? And that's like stock footage, so it was just kind of a test to see, like, can I work within the genre at all? So putting together an edit just based on whatever they had available was fun. Um, yeah, so it was weird thinking like horror film, maybe Dana, Z-Fest. So that was kind of the main trajectory. And then Scorefest came up in October, and Charlie was like, "Hey, you should do this," and I'm like, "What?" And then it's like, "Oh, Jeff, what are you doing? Do you want to do this?" And then, like,
Actually, I mean, it was so funny, like the timing of that, I think,
yeah,
because I had sort of been thinking about, I'm a performer at heart, even though I haven't really performed in front of people in like a decade, I started playing in front of people when I was younger, really young. And so I have this aspect to me that is a performer. So I'd been wanting to explore that, and I'd been sort of doing things on my own. And yeah, so when you asked me, I was like, yeah, I'm down with the caveat that I perform it, Um, that was like my piece, and Charlie was cool with that.
Go,
So
go, 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 go,
yeah,
go.
that was the one loophole, like the one thing that we had to make sure hurdle to get over.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know.
And then
When I
selection,
when I
of
talked to
course.
Charlie, it was like I didn't want it to be some sort of self-indulgent thing, but it was just in my mind, if someone's going to perform my score, it's going to be me. I'm the person most equipped to do it, even though I didn't really know what that looked like.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I'm fascinated once we get to it here to hear more about that. So the casting pretty much happened. Like, are you guys available to do this? Do you want to do this? And it's like December's really the only time this is in order to get it to editing in like January and then get it to Jeff here. You guys. So yeah, writing from like November, producing in December, and then editing January, and then score/edit in February. So that was kind of the timeline of get it done.
yeah, yeah,
And then for two competitions, so that we're splitting, just so people who are listening or watching know, it's cut into two sections, manifest and latent. Manifest goes to score. I've gotten this messed up so many times. Manifest goes to Scorefest. Latent goes to Z-Fest. So Yeah, those are the
Can you
sections of the film.
can you speak to why you did that a little bit? Because
Yeah.
there's a couple
Yes.
of reasons. Yeah.
Yes. The titles are the biggest hint. In my research, a lot of the stuff that had to do with dreams kept coming up as manifest or latent. So latent meaning things that have not been realized or actualized, so are in your dream state. And manifest is when you bring them to your conscious state. So, and yeah, a lot of fun stuff out of that, which I'll get to in a moment, and in our Patreon too. But okay, so speaking of which, so we get all the cast together, and I'm so excited. Speaking of performers, Jeff, how did each of you, the actors, feel about your characters when you read the script the first time, and then, yeah, how, yeah, let's start with that. Let's start with Gael.
Should have seen that coming. Um, I I remember. Well, I remember when he first brought the idea to me of creating something like this for Dana. And at this point, I had already played her a couple times. So I think I was really excited to jump into a more like subconscious level of her that I hadn't explored yet with the script. So I think that was like a really neat process for my actor brain to analyze beforehand and just think about, okay, what would she do the same in like real life that she would do in a dream? What would she do differently? So thinking about that kind of helped me with embodying this version of Dana.
Right. Yeah, because you played her in two different other genres prior to this,
Mm-hmm.
and then throwing the third in there. Yeah. Okay.
Did this one feel like different than, the other iterations? Like, did you approach it differently,
Yeah, actually, like I kind of thought about it more as words. I feel like I got more to play with and dissect with because this was also not, being that this was partially dreamlike, I was able to take a little bit more creative liberties with her.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of cool to stretch those bounds and discover more of this character that I sort of am now. I feel like connected with her a little bit at this point. So it's just cool. It's cooler and cooler to dig deeper and deeper into who she is.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the reason I ask is because, I know all of you. I know all of your characters really well, having scored this. And part of what I have to do when I'm scoring, at least my process, is like getting in tune with some of that stuff under the surface. And I felt like Dana, there was just a lot of depth in that character. There was a lot for me to sort of sink my teeth into, in terms of scoring it. So I was just sort of curious, yeah, like if it was different from the other ones.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, like I did spend time like thinking about it. It's the fact that you acknowledge it a lot. So yeah, it was just like a really fascinating kind of journey to explore for me as well. So glad that it translated.
Yeah, it did.
And playing opposite Dana, as you mentioned, Rahana.
Yeah. So I loved Dr. Lumen upon reading the script. Honestly, um I don't know how much I can say about who Dr. Lumen even is. Am I allowed to at least? Okay.
Well,
So
yeah, keep
she's
it minimal, I guess.
she's a therapist. And I think that anyone who's listened to like more than 2 episodes of the podcast knows that I love talking about therapy and mental health. And yeah, so I was really excited. That's probably the only, like, Alan's probably like, the moment he thought about therapists, he's like, oh, Rana. He's like, it's all
Yeah,
that lady
either that
talks
or a
about.
banker or a lawyer, whatever you want.
But yeah, so I loved like the idea of her right away, and then reading the script and seeing the journey that she goes on with uh Dana um was really fascinating to me. And so getting to kind of dissect that and take experiences that I've had in therapy and like how, like the approach that I've seen come from a therapist, being able to kind of play around with that and apply it was so fun. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Andrew.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What about you?
My character was a great guy, did all the right things. Everyone's gonna love him. He was no. Yeah, Alan, when you came to me with this one, what I immediately went to was okay, if any of you are cool as much as I think you are, you've seen Mean Girls, right? So the role of Regina, which is like, the main mean girl, they were trying to find a mean girl that, maybe was already mean because she would know how to be mean, and then they realized we can't really do that. We got to find somebody who's kind to fit this role and then is okay with everybody and then can be mean. So I've had a lot of bad guy, douchebag, horrible people in my time. I think it has something to do with maybe the brow, the look that can go on, but uh it I take it as a compliment in terms of just how, like, any ability within me that knows how to play a douchebag of a guy, because obviously this guy, he's not good. He's horrible. He's bad. But just being able to, I always take it as a compliment, for it's like, Andrew, you can play this horrible guy. Well, thank you. But just knowing it's a role. Like, any actor would drool at an opportunity to, expand stretch their acting muscles in terms of like just what their abilities are. And I do remember having a conversation with Gael in terms of like, this guy's bad. He's not like, I'm not nervous about it, but it's just like, as long as just kind of the check in, just because of the content that has been that has been the foundation of what their relationship was and everything from the previous videos that you put on. And she kind of gave me her seal of approval, where it was like I feel totally content with you taking this, because she and I had already, we have a friendship already. So that to me was like, okay, like Alan's approved and Gael's approved. Whew, I feel good. So let's move forward. So yeah, that it's always a pleasure to take on any role, especially a douchebag role. Those are fun.
Yeah. All right. Kaylin?
Yeah, so I just remember us initially talking a little bit more about the name of my character. So I think as far as in Dana plus Char, we were kind of trying to spitball, hey, names for what I looked like in that one, in particular, and then how my character might fit into a something else at some point. Honestly, I have no idea how that ties in at this point in time, but either way, we took the name, or at least Alan took the name Shayla, and applied it to my character in this film as well too. Um, and so when it came to time when we looked at the script in itself as well too, I just remember feeling so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, something that I haven't done before, as far as like more of a horror thriller theme as well, besides Edit Fest
Yeah.
as well. Right. And so it was like, oh man, we talked about like, oh yeah, what would be good examples? Like, what could I really pull from? I'm like, I don't even watch horror movies myself. So like, this is gonna take some work to kind of,
Oh, yeah.
personify my own character in that way. So it was really a creative challenge in that way, and really exciting to kind of see like what could come out of it when I got to it. So I had a lot of fun. can't go wrong with being spooky in some sort of way. I feel like the majority of my work on my character was through the outfit, so I'm excited to talk more about that as well too.
Yeah, nice. Tick.
Yeah. Well, Alan, I remember the first thing we were spitballing was the name as well. And then you sent me a picture of the makeup, and I was like, whoa. That really started to form things. So it's this like crazy green, like kind of Beetlejuice-esque look. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So it kind of was like step by step, how do these visual things and situational things inform my character? And so I got the script and I was like, okay, this could go in a few different directions. And and then when we got to, and then it wasn't really until we got to set until I was like, okay, I kind of have a much clearer understanding of what this world is. And it was kind of like Evil Dead, like sort of like getting, I don't know, possession, whatever. Yeah, it was a cool, just like weird, warm tone, overwhelming, like uh small space. And I was like, okay, okay, yeah. And then there was the candle, and I was really into that. It was fun, yeah. And then, but it's this like text that it's like really, philosophical, but like depressing uh
Moody.
and just really like in your face, like Jesus Christ. It's like when you are in a, I don't know, when you start, when you're in a, what is it called? I'm not cool enough to know what that's even called. When you are smoking marijuana. What
When
is
you're
that?
high?
Yeah. Well, and then like people start like, having big ideas, and some people, you get paranoid, and
Oh, yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
was kind of getting. Yeah. Yeah,
Paranoid,
yeah. A
yeah.
whole lot of, yeah.
Nice. I'll come back to the structure
Go, go,
question
go,
because
go, 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 go.
I want to mix it up here. Um, Jeff, I want to come to you now with your question. Um, Talk about what drove your score process. Now, hearing like how everyone else felt about their characters to begin with, like I guess you're more introduced to it after the fact here in the edit. So yeah, talk about your process for that and
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I'll say again, I had a sort of preconceived notion that this was going to really be a horror, right?
hmm, we all did, I think.
And um, I think when
Go,
I
go, go,
got
go, go, go,
the
go.
footage, I was sort of like, oh, okay. I like not in a bad way, but it wasn't necessarily like what I would sort of expect in a horror. And so I think what drove my process is I really had to dig into the characters, I really had to like lean in to try and find the feelings in every single character. And I actually had
Go,
some
go, go, go,
struggles
go,
with
go,
this
go.
score. I had some problems really trying to dig in initially. But the scene that really, like, I felt really finally in sync with was the scene with Tick and Kaylin. And that scene in particular, once I sort of
Oh,
leaned into that scene,
uh-huh.
I was like, okay, I got my flow. And I feel like you and I really got in tune after that as well. I sort of had an idea of where I needed to go and how to pivot, and how to sort of get to the other characters from that starting point. So yeah, it was kind of weird how it rolled out. Usually, I have a better idea of where I want to go with something, and or I'll usually sort of lean into the major characters. But with this one, it took some time. I kind of had to dive into the ice, like underneath the ice myself to get there.
Right. Yeah, the symbolism in my research, there's a lot of symbolism in dreams about like water and fire. That's why they exist in the film.
Yeah,
They can be representative of good and bad, but in horror, like obviously fire is like hell or something, but it can have duality in this sense. So yeah, when you came up with a score for that scene, I remember there were just a few tweaks, but you hit it pretty much. I mean,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
just like that was the part of the score that I loved the most, just because it was
yeah.
just like, ooh, I'm vibing
I
with
for
this.
some reason that yeah, the vibe in that one I really kind of I got it.
Yeah,
And again, it helped me sort of pave the way. That was sort of my entry point in a way.
Go,
But
go, 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 go.
that being said, we did a lot of last minute late night edits.
Oh God.
But more on that later, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, as with almost every like film, I think, with that has a deadline, I'm sure, But yeah, us especially because it was a hard like this needs to be turned in.
Well, and I think I don't know. I don't know. For me, at least, especially with scores, like I want to be proud of my work.
Yeah.
I cannot phone it in when it comes to this. I have to live it. And I remember when we were getting close, I was like, I can do better. This can be better. But let's keep going. Let's dive in deeper. I'm gonna keep going after it until it's done.
You did, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, and so yeah, it was just the nature of this one, and I think it worked out in its favor. But it
Yeah.
it kind of definitely became a like late in the game, running against the clock thing.
In the red zone. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. And two films. So you're scoring for two films, but also one. So
Yeah.
talk
It
about your
was a
process for that.
bit Jekyll and Heidi. Yeah, I think that we had a lot of cuts floating around in the beginning, and again, usually it's like I get my cut, and then that's what I have to play with, right? But we had a couple of different playing fields with this, and the rules were different because I was adding this element of performing part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of threw ourselves to the wolves a little bit, Alan. But again, it added to the chaos. Like it created some chaos in my
I thought
soul.
everyone
Like,
was doing two competitions at the same time, right? Isn't that? Doesn't everyone have that challenge?
yeah. So I don't know. There was an element of chaos when I was scoring the whole thing, just due to the nature of what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh, Film Score Fest, that's gonna be wild because I'm just thinking about like how you're gonna perform that live, and then
Yeah.
also the story is like half the film is in that film, and then the other half is over at Z Fest, slightly more
Yeah.
than half. And it's kind of like, oh, this has the answer over here for this part, so it is like a puzzle. So it's like until it's one film again afterwards.
I mean, I think, and we've talked about this like privately, but I think we would have, it would have been a lot easier if we just did this as one film. Would have been a lot easier, but I don't think we would have had the same result, Like
Right.
sometimes when you carve out problems for yourself, or rather put yourself into certain boxes, you have to sort of figure out how to get out of them creatively. So it creates sort of this weird creative environment in the chaos, So I don't know, this is just for me, but I don't know if you would have had the same films had you done this differently, Like if you've taken your time with it, because part of this too was you running against a clock, right? I
Yeah.
remember after that conversation we had at that Halloween party about this, where we started discussing it, like you were kind of burning at it right away, man,
Yeah.
Go.
Oh yeah, because there are all sorts of deadlines to meet, but um yeah, the structure of like the film itself, I want to get everyone's opinion on that, both with your characters as well as within the story as a whole, or within, I guess, what you know about the trilogy, I suppose. Um, but I guess Gael, hello. How's the cat doing? Running around probably.
I'm sorry, she's been a nuisance. We could put her away, but she's got a lot of energy right now for some reason. And
Got the zoomies? Okay.
she fell. The reason we had like a moment was she fell from this ledge down into like a crevice. And I was like, you have to check on her.
Would be stinky.
But anyway. Oh, what was the question?
Structure, Gael. No.
What structure do you have when you got a kid?
Right.
Go. Film wise, structure.
Yeah, in terms of your character, the story, yeah, wanted to hear from everyone about that.
Perfect. Are we talking specifically for the Nightmare film or
Yeah,
like,
just the
separate
Nightmare
both parts?
film. Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
can kind of talk broadly. We'll get to that in a little bit. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not gonna lie. When you first told me you wanted to do these as two separate films, I was like, that is so ambitious. Like, oh my gosh. Like it's a feat. It's a whole thing you're taking and you're chewing on it and I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I'm very impressed.
I don't. Thanks to Jeff, really. I mean,
Well,
moral support over here.
I don't agree. I think that this was 100% everyone, man. I think that, again, it was ambitious, but those are the best projects. Like, be ambitious, be crazy, you know? I don't know. When we first talked about it, it was, you threw it out there to me, and I was like, yeah, that's totally the kind of project I would be on. Let's break all the rules, let's push the boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in, you know? But that being said, it creates a crazy headache after the fact and during, you know?
Yeah, especially with scheduling the screenings.
Yeah. So I'm with you, Kyle. I feel like, yeah, it's like super ambitious, but yeah, like those are the best ones, you know?
And I think it works too with like the story itself, just because it's it's a dreamlike story, and then the chaos surrounding and how it was created, I think leaked into the project itself, which I think is just a great energy overall to have for a film. So I've just been like really excited to see the end results and how it all came together, because it was such a fun process to put together, even though it was like it was a lot, but it was a lot in like a fulfilling kind of way. Like, wow, we just created something and like all band together as a team and lifted this thing up in like that amount of time.
Yeah, everyone was doing great in this film. Gael, you get to pick who you want next to hear from next.
Oh, let's bounce to Tick.
All right, I'm eating pizza, mini pizzas.
We want to know what kind of pizza.
Oh, just cheese. It's from Trader Joe's because we're boycotting. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was fun because I was only there for one night. And it was like first location, club, another club, bus. No, I'm just kidding. You know Lady Gaga? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Anyway. But yeah,
I'll
it
look
was
up
good. Okay. In an interview, and she's like, bus. And I don't know. Yeah, so we got to the first location, and like me and Kaylin were on set. And we got makeup done.
Yeah.
And then we got to the second location, and that's when we really like set where we're gonna be doing stuff. And we watched. Wait, no, I was there for 2 days. We filmed. Girl. By 2 days, I mean nights. It was night.
Yes.
And yeah, so we did the scene with me, Kaylin, and Gael in the basement, and then I was there another night, and I helped. That was great because I hadn't actually done anything behind the camera before, so that was good learning
Nice.
for me. Yeah, and just like helped. Is that a grip? Is that what that's called? Being a grip?
Well, you were PA / kind of AC at that point, yeah. So
Cool.
air conditioning, no.
Yes.
The cool
yeah,
one on
so
set.
that was
Anyways.
yeah, that was good. So that was the scene that I got to help with. Yeah, it was good. I've done night shoots before, and they can be really exhausting, but I think it was. I mean, it's you run a good set. Like it's a tight crew and a tight ship, and like I think it's really good because you communicate really well on like, because I've been on sets even like the first feature I did, I was in between takes, and it would be like 10 to 20 minutes, and I would have no idea what's going on. But this, I was like, I mean, we're all in the same room, everyone's talking, you know what's going on. It was good. Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't on set, but I just feel like I can imagine, Alan, that you created a really great environment on set. whenever I go to like in-person events in the Twin Cities, I'm always looking for you because I'm always like nervous
Oh,
and just like my anxiety's running high, and I'm like, oh, there's
yeah,
Alan. I can like be normal around Alan. He doesn't
yeah,
judge me.
right.
So I'm serious. Like, so there's something to be said, man. Like you do a really good job about being inclusive, and you and me, I just felt like I was immediately friends with you. So I'm sure that sort of resonated on the set. You're just very inclusive and you don't really judge. You don't really have that vibe. You're just, I don't know, down to earth and cool. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Um, Tick, you get to pick. Tick, pick? That.
All right. Let's go, Andrew.
I get to be the tick pick.
Is
All right,
that
so
the tickets?
yeah,
Anyways.
coin that phrase. Let's see. So structure-wise, if that's what we're still on, um, I'll be honest. Like I didn't know I had seen. I think remind me if I'm wrong. The first one where it was them chatting at the diner.
Hmm.
That being the first one.
And yeah, and the Muay Thai. Hmm.
Yep, that's that. Yeah, that's the one that I had seen prior to, so I knew all about it. I had already done my homework. No, but so I knew of the character that I'd be portraying at least in setting that stage up. But in this one, like it's interesting because of not giving away anything, just how he is depicted within the film because of the way that we're showing him, and he gets to be shown in a couple of different ways, which end up being quite interesting. And for behind the scenes, in terms of like setting one of those particular looks up, was quite an ordeal and was quite fun. It had some challenges, but all in all, I think everybody who was involved in that was just smiling and laughing, except me because I couldn't sometimes, which for reasons you'll find out. But it really
What?
it was interesting in how it played out because of the way that it needs to be. This character needs to, from kind of her point of view, be seen
Mm.
and shown. So yeah, for that reason alone, it was interesting taking place in the trying to be somewhat covert and not giving away things while still saying things that are interesting. So covert way to say it, but still interesting to people wanting to be like, I want to find out what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Andrew, pick. Who would you like to hear
That's right. I
from?
got a pick here. Let's see. Kaylin, hit it up.
I'm
You're looking
ready.
busy.
I'm ready. Yeah, let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is also just kind of piggybacking off of Jeff as well too, where Alan, you really do create such a supportive, like less anxiety-ridden space. So that was really fun. Just everybody on set as well too, and crew, and just hanging out and chatting and whatnot. And Tick, I just remember you being such a source of support as well too, with a malfunction of my costume or my getup. So shout out to you for that as well too. But otherwise, yeah, it was really to kind of said everything that I was kind of thinking as far as like how our day kind of went. It was wild because we were up until like 3 a.m. I think we were done filming, and I was like, holy cow, where did the time flies when you're having fun, you
Yeah,
know? So
right.
so I was in a freezing basement. I fell asleep when I got home and woke up in the middle of the night and was still shaking from being frozen, but it was all worth it.
Oh my God.
It was
What?
so fun. Yeah, I hadn't told you that yet. Oh yeah,
Oh.
I was just like, it was worth it. It was fun. It was good. But yeah, it was really cool just to have the makeup effects done and just get all in my whole get up and just kind of really just having a total different essence, of course, for my character than who I am on a day-to-day basis. So it's just like bringing it all together. Um, and as far as how my character kind of fits in from the first data, that's what you're gonna have to tell me, Alan, or like future tense. I'm not sure. I just kind of pop in from my understanding at this point. So I don't know. It was great.
Yeah.
Web shot, like it's my character.
I suppose in this episode, the best thing I can kind of say is that between the three of you in that scene, it was just very, um, it's very self-reflective in Dana's world or in her lucid state, if you will. So it was just kind of like in the writing, it was all about like, what is Dana afraid of? What is she, what are her fears? What are her insecurities and all those things that are being trudged up in this film. So understanding where that comes from first, and then getting that reflected back to you in your, like, as you're going through this therapeutic state, which, thank you, by the way, for Kaylin, if you all don't know, did a hypnosis stream. And that was very, like, I had already liked Get Out from, because of the whole teacup thing for, like, in the whole hypnotherapy sort of angle. But what if it were the other way around, kind of like that, where you knew you were going under, but then, I suppose it could be unconscious or subconscious, but really starts to take over, and Dana gets stuck in there. So it's like, what do you do then? So instead of you being forced down, you're going down. You're willingly being, going to those dark places. So
interesting. I don't think you'd ever told me about that specifically. It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could have told you that, but I didn't.
I probably didn't. I mean, sometimes I don't ask, and as the composer, sometimes I'm usually the last person to know. So yeah, but I mean, it's just kind of interesting to hear that, because I think I thought that in my head, but
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, have it come out through the music subconsciously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's there. It's there if you really can comprehend everything that's going on in those moments. And yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. So that's what the doctor is helping you with.
I don't know if I would say that I'm helping. I would say that I'm the cause of all of the. I'm forcing the film to happen. I'm just like, oh hey.
No. So like what...
Dana, sup? You want to have a bad time? Come in.
It is a. Oh, go
if
ahead,
I can chime in.
Yeah.
I think it's Dana's fault because she's repressing all of this. She needs to face it. And that's why she's here.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
Wait, whose fault is this really? I mean, let's be honest.
I like this.
Yes.
I try to like call myself out and be like, it's my fault. And then she's like, no, it's my fault. No, it's really my fault. No, it's my fault. And I'm like, I feel so much better.
No, you
how
go.
Minnesotan.
No, you go.
How Minnesotan of
It
us.
really is.
Like, it's my fault, guys.
Well, I mean,
no,
I will
sorry.
say, I think there's something to be said, like we do all have trauma, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it sometimes, of course it matters where it came from, but sometimes in the longer term, like the longer look of things, it doesn't matter, because it matters how the person addresses and deals with it and, moves forward, right?
Yeah.
So, I think in that sense, I think you're right, I don't think it's a person's fault. I think maybe it's her fault for like not going after some of this stuff, maybe,
Yeah.
Well, if you think about the sequence of the trilogy, it starts with her obviously kind of, denying it a little bit, but she's also there to like learn how to fight and learn how to protect herself in general. So there is,
correct, yeah.
She grows out of this whole trilogy, basically, is kind of where it's going. So,
well, I think when you go after trauma and you try and deal with it in certain ways, you build up skills and you help elevate yourself by trying to pull yourself out of it, So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's not your fault if something were to happen to you. It is your responsibility, though, afterwards to get yourself to a better place.
Yes. Which she does. I mean, that's why there's a third film, right? Or, I guess we haven't seen the third film. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Just kidding. I'm like, wait, was that a spoiler? That wasn't a spoiler. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, I I feel like the little bit that I'm in just feels like I'm sort of driving Dana to go through all of what she's experiencing.
Go, 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 go.
Whether I'm good at it or bad at it, like whether Dr. Lumen is good at it or bad at it is up for the audience to decide as they watch everything. Maybe I need more practice, but uh, it I, I I felt like it was really fun, that like dynamic. And Dr. Lumen, I mean, obviously wasn't in the first one. Like Dana obviously like came to her as a result of like you were guys were just saying. I mean, kind of acknowledging like, okay, I need to actually work on this and figure this out. Um, and so that's where I kind of come into play. So there wasn't a lot of um like preconceived notion about the role in her, like her in the, I guess, structure of the universe at that point, which was kind of nice. Um, I'm gonna kind of echo what everybody's saying though about the making it two films. Like
Go, go, go,
I
go,
think it's
go, go, go.
awesome. I'm really excited to see it and see how it plays out, and I think it's gonna be super cool. I was shocked when you told me that though. I was like, wait, but how? I don't want to say shocked. I was confused. I was like, but how? And I think you've explained it to me like three times, and I'm still like, wait, but like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see both of them and then eventually like them come together. I think it's going to be so cool. And that just kind of plays into the thriller like aspect of it too. So
Yeah.
I think that's super neat.
Yeah, I had like maybe 2 months to, because I forget, I think I started outlining in actually maybe, yeah, roughly 2 months. So October I was probably outlining at some point there, and then just understanding, because I at that point I was like, I'm not sure about Film Score Fest. I had to find the composer first. I hadn't really relayed with Jeff at that point, and then also make it for Z Fest, but those have time limits, so you got to keep them cut
Mhm.
sharp. And so I was just like, okay, so that would mean this X amount of pages here, X amount of pages here, and then how do you split it? Do you
Mhm.
go half and half and just have a full cliffhanger, or do you just cut out sections of the film? And it was a sectional.
Make it that, yeah, that psychological thriller
Anyone
aspect.
own a
I love
sectional?
it.
No. Okay.
Um, so Alan, curious when it comes to like coordinating all this. So filmed for 3 days. You had 10 actors total. There were four different locations and very limited like time. Like you had to get it done. I mean, for every possible reason. So how was coordinating that?
Fun. Uh, yeah, I had a blast. No, I'm just. I I did Kyber Run, as many know here, almost 2 years ago. Jeez, gotta get that done. Um, but that was like 20 people and a bunch of stuff. So this, luckily, everyone who I approached here, who is here, uh, was willing to work on it, wanting to make it work. I assume it was started at the script for y'all, but yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that we could get all the actors in place at the right time, obviously. But then it's like, well, how do you divide everything up based on like a limited amount of days? Because is we're like what, Christmas, almost, we're edging up to Christmas, and it's like, don't know if this is going to work for everyone because I know how busy that is around here. Just the holidays in general, and but luckily everyone found a date that worked, a time frame for everyone to fit in. So that way I was like, okay, just send me your availabilities over the weekends. So that way we can just narrow it down to like a few days. You don't have to do like, I have to miss work for this or something. And it's like, I don't want that for anyone, especially during December. So yeah, that was just kind of the main thing. And then came down to like shot listing this, which I'll get to in the Patreon. But just like coming up with all the different looks of the how is this going to look on screen basically. So yeah, it was fun but very challenging because it was like you two need to be here at this time, and then 3 a.m. will happen with you three because of this, and it's like we had to push on every day, and then like yeah, we ran kind of behind on day two a little bit, so that's what led to some challenges there. So, but everyone was there for it. I felt like everyone was 100% there with it. So that's because I care about the team I form. I want everyone to be able to pull it together, and you all did. Um, from costumes to makeup to wardrobe, and then just performance wise. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. It was just like I got all I wanted and more. So it was just like, oh, this is good. um, and then Gael, I know we already kind of touched on this a little bit with one character going through three genres. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about that in general, or
Yeah, I could talk a little bit more about that process.
especially in the
Because
in the order we filmed it, kind of too, I guess,
oh yeah, rather than okay, for sure.
and the
Because
time
it
gap.
was exactly like I was gonna say, it was a bit of a challenge to think about it in chronological order to Dana's story versus to how we shot it. Because I had to kind of go back in time for Dana's mindset a little bit with this film. And I had to think about okay, what does that mean for this character? What is she gonna have to do a little like how do I meld my performances from each other thing that I did to find a good match for her in her current timeline. So it was a little
Yeah,
trippy,
yeah,
but it was also kind
it jumped
of
around.
yeah, like
Yeah,
mhm. Yeah, so it was a lot of just reflecting on my part about what that means and also taking pieces from my own life too because I haven't done hypnosis or any kind of that um but I have had past trauma that I've gone to therapy for and so I thought about it in a like a what mind state was I in during this time too and what
mm,
elements can I draw from my own life to help enhance my performance too so that was something else that I reflected on for this piece specifically too.
right. Yeah, there's
Yeah, that's all I had.
I'm
okay.
excited to watch your performance in all three, like back to back, once all of them are out. Because I think
Oh my
watching
god.
them, I mean, honestly, it could be like a Star Wars thing where it's like, which order do you watch it in? The order they came out or the order they're supposed to be in? Like, I'm very curious to like see how like that progression, because I think it's awesome that you were able to do that and like maintain Dana throughout these different situations, like kind of coming through in those specific
Go,
genres
go,
and
go,
like
go,
just
go, go, go.
opening up those peeling the onion back. We're gonna Shrek it. It's an onion. You're peeling it back, and I'm really excited to see that.
I agree, though. I have to say that as well. I feel like I really want to see all of this stuff play out, and there were definitely times when I was scoring this where I was like, "Wait, who is Dana?" Like I'm like, "Wait, who is she?" I got like a lot of different versions and pieces of things, so it'll be cool to sort of see it all play out.
There is no Dana, only Zool. So in this one, yeah, Ghostbusters '80s.
Yes.
Anyways,
All
um,
right. So, Alan, before we wrap, can you throw out, uh, remind everybody, like where can they see the two films?
yep. We have Film Scorefest, April 26th at 7 p.m. at the History Theater in St. Paul. Performing live is Jeff Goldsmith.
Jeff? Yeah.
And then April 27th, Z-Fest likely to be 5 p.m. It looked like. I think there's only one block for Sunday anyways. But look for that. Tickets coming soon. We don't know yet as of this recording. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being on and chatting with us about this. I know everybody's really excited to see it. I'm excited to see both of them, and to see Jeff perform. I think it's going to be really like moving. Scores are like I've like playlists of scores. Like I love them, so I'm very excited about all of this. And for anyone who wants to hear more about this, if you are all about the spoiler life, we are actually also going to have a Patreon where we dive in a little deeper with this group. So, yeah, check that out. Until we meet again, this has been Film in Minnesota. No, it hasn't. Son of a banana. This has been Film and Beyond. Every single time, I swear. Well done.